So
Like doing something different with the hair?
my coaching career is over, so came back to playing football.
You were color in Alabama at one point, right?
Yeah. So not a first time.
Was there an impetus or reason for the color?
Nah,
Okay, yeah.
just did it.
Tua, what do you take from Sunday's improvement in the offense in your first game back and take it into the Buffalo week to build on?
Yeah, I think we can continue to build on the possessions that we had and on the number of possessions that we had, what we could have done to stay on the field, to give us chances to score points or put points on the board, whether that's a field goal or getting into the end zone. I think that's something we can build off of.
What's it like to come back? You're trying to get your feet wet, and you return to a situation where the team is already in a deep hole and trying to bring itself up so early in the season.
You just got to work through all of that. Sometimes that's just the cards that you're dealt with as a team. It's not an issue for me. It's an issue for us as a team. Like, that's how we win games. I can't go play defense. Jalen Ramsey can't come play offense. Like, that's just how it works, right? So this is the cards that we're dealt with. We got to stick together as a team. We got to just continue to grow stronger, stay in the film room, communicate with our guys. I don't think anything's over until it's actually over. So I believe we still have a shot and we can still do it. So it starts this week against Buffalo, against a really good team. And see you guys Sunday with it.
What lessons did you learn from that 2021 season where you guys won 8 of the final 9 games after starting 1-7?
Worrying about your job and what you have to do. I know that sounds cliche, but that's exactly what we did. It's like, all right, I'm so worried about the defense giving up touchdowns. Defense saying to the offense, like, we're tired of you guys not putting enough touchdowns on the board and things like that. Well, if we just focus on what we have to do and worry about ourselves and worry about our jobs and what we got to do, like, the game is hard as it is. So that's all we got to do, and just go out there and play. Trust the guy that you're playing with. And if the ball falls into the into our hands, and that's how the game's going to go, that's how the game goes.
You're 1-7 against the Bills. Do you take anything from those games and apply into this one, and hopefully try to snap those 3-game losing streak already against them, or reflecting back on that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, all in all, you got to find a way to beat them, regardless of what that looks like. And that's what, throughout those 8 times that I've played them and the 7 that we've lost, that's just been the recipe for it. We just couldn't find a way to do that. So here's another opportunity for us to do that.
What comes to mind when you think of playing in that stadium, specifically in Buffalo?
Nice. I mean, it's nice. It's loud. Hostile environment. I think that's sort of what you want as a team. You go in there knowing it's going to be hostile, and you just love when you're able to do good as a team, as a unit, and be able to quiet those guys down. You love to do that as a team.
They obviously play a lot of too high, too deep safety, but a lot of teams do now. What about their style is different from your time?
Well, I think when you look at the film against us, they do that more against us than they do any other team that we've seen on film. And they have multiple things that they do out of that too high with how they run it against us as well. So we're looking to have some answers for what they've been showing us over the past couple of years.
Well, part of that answer, you get River back. How do you look out there today?
My man. It's my man.
How excited are you to have that guy?
The Great White Hope, River. Yeah. It's my man. I'm excited, man. Not just me, but a lot of the guys on offense as well.
So as one of the leaders in the locker room, in the National Football League, things can change drastically for any team. What's the energy that you think that you are trying to give to your teammates, like, hey, it's not over, there's still plenty of football left, but, kind of keep the message of positivity, I guess, the best way to put it?
Yeah, I would say positivity is definitely a thing that's being portrayed from my leadership still, but it's also not being blind to what we know is stopping us from getting to where we want to go, and that's in all 3 phases of our game, special teams, offense, and defense. We've had a lot of conversations about that. before I even came back, 5 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and we've been continuing to have these conversations. And the thing that, can become very discouraging is the message starts to sound redundant. And it's like, man, it's the same thing we're hearing, but it's also, what are we going to do about it? Screw the message. Like, what are we going to do about it, as a locker room, as a group of guys? And how do we want to change what that looks like this Sunday?
How does the messaging change versus game one versus Buffalo and coming into game two versus Buffalo?
I would say it doesn't change. I would say if you look back at the way we played Buffalo earlier in the year, three turnovers, you can't do that. Like, you just can't do that. And I'm just speaking from an offensive perspective. Can't worry about what the defense does. They're going to do what they do. Like, we got to eliminate turnovers, eliminate takeaways in that sense. We got to stay ahead of the sticks, take what they give us. And if it's a 16-play drive and we get points on the board, we're okay with that, and we're willing to do that. And this team is, you got to go battle them out for 60 minutes. That's what these kind of games are.
The mishandled snaps, what can be done there? Is it as simple as just catching the ball, which you mentioned about the one from a shotgun, but we also didn't get to ask you about the one under center that occurred too.
Sure, it's as simple as catching the ball in the gun, but I would say I'm a pretty good shortstop guy. I have pretty good vision. I have pretty good hands. I mean, I'd like to see a lot of other people go in the back there and try to catch that ball too. You've seen it wasn't Brew's best, and Brew knows he can get it better, but it wasn't my best as well. But I'm just saying, to give perspective, it's not as easy as what it looked like, sitting down on your couch eating chips.
And the under center one, what if
The under center one, that was just my fault. Yep.
You mentioned earlier about some of the recurring themes of that things that need to be corrected. What are one or two of the biggest things?
I'm not going to tell anybody that. I think that stays within what we're trying to work on, what we're trying to do, and when it shows up on Sunday, I'll let you know.
A lot of the games that you played against Buffalo, you've suffered some pretty big injuries. Have that entered the thought process of your mind that every time you play them, something happens?
Nah. I'm a football player. Go out there, if you have any of those thoughts, I think that's when it's time to call it, man. So go out there, just enjoy it. Enjoy being out there, enjoy that opportunity. I love it. I just love football and being out there with our guys. But nothing's better than getting a win, and we're looking for our first win in however long over there at Highmark Stadium this Sunday.
So given that you played Sunday after a pretty long layoff, when you watched the film, was there anything that you did that surprised you as a pleasant surprise? And was there anything, contrary to what you might have expected of yourself?
Not really. There were some things that I was really not happy about with myself, with some of the play passes and things that we did in the pocket that we try to get fixed and work on a lot this week.
To a team worked a lot on getting a third receiving option this year, whether it's Odell or Jonnu or just training Devon to be more of a receiver. How has that chemistry been built, despite the month you spent away? Where do you feel that level is with the third pass catcher?
Well, I think it's been tough just because there's been guys on IR, Odell, Riv, and then you also have Malik, but then the packages with Malik, Malik's playing special teams. Malik's doing a lot. And so I think being able to work a little bit with Odell while we both been on IR, a little bit with Riv, and now the band sort of coming back together and meshing, being able to throw more routes, throw more timing throws with them, knowing where they need to be in the spots of the field of the play. I think we're getting to where we need to be. And like I said, hopefully this Sunday we get to use the weapons that we've acquired this offseason.
So going back to part of what you were saying about being clean in the operation and playing mistake-free football, what is the process of going into a hostile environment knowing that you have to be clean, but also like not thinking too much on the fact of, okay, I can't mess up.
Yeah. I would say it's just the preparation that you need to take into the week. You need to think of looks that you won't get and that you could potentially get if it's in the pass game. If it's in the run game, sort of same thing. Okay, but if this happens on the fly, like, oh, all right, if this happens, I need to go communicate this to the guys. Like, hey, I'm going to make this call, like on the fly, even if he starts his cadence, and this is how we're going to block it, and that's how we're going to do that. So I think it starts with the preparation of how you're looking at the playbook and then how you're also going about it, thinking of what the defense does and the multiple things they can do out of that.
I'm curious what you learned from your time spending with the coaches and sitting down, learning about what their role is and how they put the game plans together, and how will that make you a better quarterback?
Yeah. Well, I would say first off, being with the coaches, I respect a lot more of I have a different respect and understanding of what they do. Guys sleep here. That's crazy to me. Like, go home to your wife. Like, even if it's for 30 minutes, that's crazy. But guys do that, They're dedicated in that sense. I love that, but I don't necessarily, agree, but that's for another day, right? I would say a lot of guys are up there at 2 and are there till like 10. And then some of them just still don't sleep. Okay, now we got to do third downs after this Wednesday. And like just being with those guys and seeing what they've been talking about in 2:30 meetings and 3 o'clock meetings, I'm like, geez, like it feels like it should be lunch at 7, when it's in the morning with the way their scheduling is. And you just get a better grasp of what the communication is, what the talks are like, and then how they also see the field. And then got to have some communication deals with the defense as well. But you have a different type of respect, I would say, being with the coaches.
So you're not gonna be a coach someday?
Probably not. Probably not. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.